Hello, and let's talk about electronic textbooks, sometimes called ebooks, sometimes called online books, or even e-textbooks. These are computerized representations of the printed word on a computer screen instead of paper. There's lots of different devices for these electronic books, desktops and laptop computers, mobile devices like your tablets and phones, and then also purpose-built systems like Kindle or Nook. These electronic books have significant advantages. They're weightless and they can be synchronized across multiple devices. Annotation mechanisms exist to kind of mimic highlighters and bookmarks and margin notes that you would use in the physical world. And an electronic text has a universal search that can provide more coverage than just a index or glossary. But ebooks lack the kind of tactile feel of a physical book. You can't flip through pages and bookmarks and sticky notes and dog-ear pages, highlighters. They're much more apparent in the physical medium than their electronic counterparts. And we all have vast experience with ink on paper, but many of us have less experience with pixels on a screen. And so instead of confirming or not a particular theory, I propose to research a media comparison between electronic books and paper books, but with a moderating variable to investigate attitudes about ebooks. Because the publishers are moving to ebooks, students seem to love their devices, and so it seems like it might be a good match for the classroom, but is it really? It's my experience that students complain about an electronic text, citing inferiorities to a printed book, but I don't often hear from the folks who actually like it. So is it just the complainers who get my attention? And that's what I propose to research here. How do electronic textbooks affect students' affect in the classroom? For this study, I'll take a sample of students enrolled in the various sections of CIS 1111. There are 8 sections across 3 locations in 2 modalities, online and in person, for a total population of about 200 students. And so we'll randomly select some of these, but they must be willing to spend the extra time in this study. So we might have to find some replacements to get a sample of 10 to 20 students. Ultimately, this is a convenience sample because short of coercion, there's not really a good way to get a real, true, random sample. Data will be collected through focus groups in 2 sessions, one before the semester and again after. Now, I, along with other raters, will interview the groups to gather information, generate insight, and encourage interaction beyond merely collecting multiple choice answers. There will be 4 raters, one for each of the 3 campuses in the in-person modality and another rater for the online modality. I will establish an open coding technique to attempt to discover emergent trends. And the same questions will be asked in both sessions. I expect each session to last about 15 to 30 minutes. Focus group discussions will be recorded with permission for subsequent analysis. And here's the types of questions I want to ask. First, just get some background information. How familiar are you with ebooks? I'm sure lots have never used it and lots have used it. And then asking before and after, how effective do you think the e-text will be? And then afterwards, how effective did you think it was versus a paper book? Afterwards, I'll follow up and ask, did you use any of the annotation features, highlighter, bookmark, or the margin note of the book? Yes or no? And then if yes, well, let's dig a little deeper. Did you like them? Were they helpful? And if no, well, why not? Which devices did you use to read the text? These books are available on a multitude of devices. I'd like to find out what students have access to. And then finally, an open-ended question: would you like future classes to use an electronic text? Why or why not? The study's focus groups will take place in two sessions. Like I said, once before and once after. Interviewers will be assigned on the modality as previously described, and will use this questionnaire that I just discussed. We'll ensure reliability by comparing responses collected by the various interviewers to establish an inter-rater reliability. I'll train the raters in appropriately recording the group's responses, and a percentage of agreement will be calculated across all the raters, once for each session before and after. To ensure validity, uh, the interviewers are going to use a member check technique. In other words, after the conversation kind of goes where it's going and kind of dies down, the interviewer will kind of restate and say, I heard X. Is that correct? And then try to find out, is that X really what they meant to say? For data analysis, I'm going to try to decide whether to continue with an electronic text and not do any specific quantitative analyses with means and standard deviations. I'm trying to flesh out trends, not compute a correlation coefficient. Therefore, my data analysis will be my subjective judgment, informed by transcribing conversations and tabulating specific responses to those aforementioned questions. Ultimately, my goal as an educator is to ensure student success. And if electronic text helps the student's affect, then I should embrace it. And conversely, if the old-fashioned way works better, then should stick with that. The variable in question here, like, is what I'm investigating. Or do students dread the e-text? I'd like to find out. This has been Jeff S. Thanks for watching.